So today we're going to talk about two things, and they're related. It's resigning and blundering. So don't do those things, right? You promise?
Yeah.
You sure? Okay. And you promise, now you're home, you're going to blunder. Yeah. They're watching at home, and they're blundering like watching it. Terrible. They're not even making moves and they're blundering. Okay. So a couple of these games were played in a super tournament yesterday. And four of the games were played by me yesterday, and 3 of the games are famous games from the past, which you've already memorized. No, you know. And you at home know nothing, as usual. Okay, so first game was a game played yesterday for them like 4 weeks ago. Praggnanandhaa's white, your favorite player.
No.
Right, against Wesley So. Now, Wesley So is the best player in the U.S., with the possible exception of Caruana, possibly. And Praggnanandhaa is newest grandmaster. He's 12 years old, from India, okay? And he won the prize for the longest name, okay? And they played yesterday, and they were playing 20-minute chess. Each side gets 20 minutes. And then this is move 30, so they probably both had very little time. The computer says white is a little bit better, because white's threatening checkmate. Yeah? Okay, and black didn't want to get checkmated, so he played h6. Now, the h-pawn's pinned. You can't take the knight. So white could do anything he wants, but he played knight e6. Okay, and black played the obvious move. What's the obvious move for black? Make it bigger, too. Make it more obvious.
I don't know.
What should black do? See, his queen's attacked. Terrible, right? Can we get rid of that knight?
Yeah.
What do we do?
Knight e6.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Now, when I teach chess, I say this a lot, and my students never listen. You at home never listen. You're asleep right now. And this is a very important thing in chess that people don't realize, even though I say it a lot. There's 3 kinds of pieces in chess. Pieces that are not attacked, pieces that are attacked but not defended, so you take them for free. Then the most important kind, which is attacked and defended. And that's what black did in this position. In this position, without moving, this is attacked and defended, this is attacked and defended, and I can show you like 10 examples. Okay, black did it again. He played rook b6, attacking the bishop. Notice the bishop's defended by the queen. So if I take the bishop, you'll take with the queen. However, if your queen wasn't there, I take the bishop. Okay, so white should do something about that, like bishop d7 or bishop g4 or f5, something to save the bishop. But since the bishop's defended, white didn't care, so white played rook g4, rook g3, and attacked this pawn. Hooray! Okay. Now, what move did black make that attacked this queen? He threatened the queen.
Rook d8.
He did play rook d8. Can the white queen move anywhere and still protect this bishop?
No.
No. So now he read a copy of my book, Cry Like a Grandmaster. Yeah. So after rook d8, white's losing. Now if we go back and we turn on the engine, it says black is slightly better. 0.5, 0.4, a little bit better. And then when I play rook g3, the move that was played in the game, the red light goes on. See this red light? Mm-hmm. That's bad. And then rook d8, and now black's up 5 points from just one move because he's going to lose his bishop. So he gave up. Okay, you should never give up, but okay. So Wesley So's like the 3rd highest rated player in the world, so the truth hurts. Yeah. So what most people think, and they're wrong, and remember, most people are always wrong. Like people at home, they're wrong. Whatever they're doing is wrong. Everything you do is wrong. Okay? So what most people do is they go, oh, that guy is better than that guy, so that guy won. Okay? And that's not why you win. Normally, people who win at chess don't blunder, and their opponent does blunder. It doesn't mean I played good and you played bad, so I won. Probably we played about the same, And the computer says, I don't know who's better. It's too hard for me. And then you blundered your queen, and I win. I don't blunder my queen, so I win. Yeah. And then I threaten checkmate, and you don't see it, so I checkmate you, so I win. And in chess, this is very common that the game is very close, and then somebody just blunders and it's over. Now, when this happens in regular sports, which is unlikely, it's very exciting. If you watch a soccer game and the score's 7-0, you're like, well, what else is on TV? That's boring. When you watch a boxing match and it's the heavyweight champion versus a small kid, you're like, that's boring. That kid's gonna get killed. I don't care about that. Okay? If you watch a football game and it's the New England Patriots versus a high school team, you're like, I don't want to watch that. High school team kids go to the hospital. They're going to get killed. Okay? And often in professional sports, the game is just one-sided. You watch a baseball game, it's 11-0, and you're like, okay, what else is on TV? Okay. In chess, often you don't know who's going to win, and then, oh, he blundered his queen, he resigned. Okay. If you can avoid doing that, you'll be the one who wins. Okay? But if every game you're like, oh, my rook, oh, checkmate. If you do that every game, then you never win. It's not that I play 20 good moves and you play 20 bad moves. That's not why I win. I win because we play about the same, and then you blunder and I don't. That's what happened in this game. The computer said white was better. The computer said black was better. The computer said equal. And then after rook g3, it says, oh, white resigns. Okay, and that happens a lot, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Okay, now, this happened yesterday for you. This is very funny. Okay, first of all, this is the same tournament. Second of all, there's only 4 players in the tournament. The last 2 and these 2. It's a knockout, which is weird. The winner of the last match plays the winner of this match. And they're playing right now. Right now they're playing. Like right now. Like they're playing in Spain and they're making moves now. Okay, and after 2 games, it's 1-1. They're playing the 3rd game as we have the class. For them, it was weeks ago. People at home were like, that happened a long time ago. Okay, so the guy who has white, he's the higher rated player. He was expected to win the match. However, he lost the first game, and he drew the next 2 games. And this is the last game. So if he doesn't win, he's out. So he has to win. Luckily, he's winning. Okay, so it went like this, attack the bishop, save the bishop, random move. Okay, now in this position, the computer says white is +6. That's incredibly winning. It wants white to play king e6, threatening checkmate.
Yeah.
Checkmate's good because you win.
Yeah.
Okay, now they were in time trouble. It's move 67, and it was a game 20. So they probably have like 10 seconds each. Okay. And the guy with white made the worst move in chess history. And then it wasn't the worst move in chess history after what his opponent did. His opponent said, wait, I'm going to do the worst thing in chess history. Okay? Yeah, don't talk. Yeah, you've seen this already. Don't tell him. Okay. So he played rook h8 check. Notice how it's check because I said so. Right? What's the only legal move?
Take the rook.
Right, he didn't do that. What did he do?
Resign.
Yeah, he resigned. And the reason he resigned, and when he resigned, White's like, yeah, good game, yeah, good job. They both thought king takes rook, king takes his check, you agree it's check, king g8, mate. Okay, that's what they both saw. But after takes, you don't play king g8, you take the bishop. Now who wins?
Black.
Yeah. So rook h8 check is the worst move ever. Now White's losing, and then Black resigned. Now, if Black had taken the rook and won the game, he wins the match, and now he plays Wesley so now. But he resigned, he lost in overtime, Vallejo won, he's playing Wesley so now. Yeah. What's the moral of the story? Don't resign, right? Especially when you have one legal move. Now, when I was a kid, and I was your age, you guys are the same age. What are you, 12?
10.
10? Well, he's 9, so I was close. Yeah. So when I was your age, 9 and 10, I read chess books because we didn't have computers. They didn't exist. Not for people. Probably like governments had computers. Not like this. They had these monsters. Okay. And I read chess books like those, but not those. And I noticed something was very common in the chess book. White resigns, black resigns. That's very common. And I was a little kid, and I was rated 1100, and I was like, oh boy, I'm gonna resign. I'll be a good player. Okay, now, let's say you're watching the NBA, because you have brain damage or something, right? Okay, and you're watching the Atlanta Hawks, and they're playing the Golden State Warriors, and Golden State's up 35 points with 1 minute to go, which is probably what it would be like. Okay, now, most people would turn their TV off or watch something else. Most people at the game would leave the game. They're like, well, they're up 35 points and there's 1 minute left. Let's go home. Okay. Now, in professional sports, like the one I mentioned, you're not allowed to resign. If you were, they would resign. Okay? But in chess, you are allowed to resign. So they do. They're like, well, I'm down a queen and my opponent's a grandmaster, so I resign. Because otherwise I'm playing for no reason. I'm wasting my time. I could be eating food and playing blitz chess and playing bug house and sleeping. I'm sitting here down a queen and lose for sure. Now, again, when grandmasters play grandmasters, resigning is actually reasonable. When you guys are playing, it's not reasonable. Because there's no position in chess where you're guaranteed to lose against who you're playing against. And I'll prove that by showing you my games. It'll be like, oh, you didn't lose that? I'll be like, no. So I don't resign unless very specific circumstances. My opponent has a lot of time, my opponent's really high rated, and my opponent's up a lot of material. So I lose like 3 games a year like that. Okay? Most of the kids that I teach, they lose 3 games like in 10 minutes. They get checkmated. But they don't resign, because if you resign, that's the worst that could have happened, right? It's the same as getting checkmated. So like, you don't do that. Okay, so here black resigned, and here's why it was wrong. It wasn't wrong because he was winning. I saw the video of him resigning. His opponent played rook h8, hit the clock, and he thought 1 second and resigned. Now, you know what makes me even madder? Everything makes me mad. I'm watching a blitz game. This will happen today. It happens every day. I watch a blitz game, like in the other room, 5 minutes each. Both sides have a couple of minutes left. Somebody plays a move that's check. And the person's like, oh, I have to get out of check. And there's one legal move. One. There's one. There's no other moves. And they sit there for 20 seconds, then play it. And I'm like, what? You had one? And they're like, oh, I was trying to think about what would happen. Well, your clock's running. Well, no, you make the one legal move. Here, there's one legal move. So you don't resign, you play the one legal move. You can resign next move when there's 2 legal moves, which, by the way, now there's 2 legal moves. King g8 and rook takes e5. But he didn't see rook takes e5, so he resigned. Okay, terrible. Yeah. And again, you might say, well, that never happens, that was weird, except this lecture is about that, so I'm going to show you a million examples. Horrible. Okay, now we're going to do the opposite. We're going to show you games where you can't believe I didn't resign, but I won anyway. These were played yesterday on my stream. Okay, so we're going to start in this position. I'm black. White played knight d5. Notice my queen's attacked. Right? You agree. The queen doesn't have a lot of squares. So I was like, whatever, I'll just take 2 pieces for a queen. Whatever. I'm losing, but it's a blitz game, so I don't care. Okay. Now in this position, my opponent played knight e4. See? What's he threatening?
The knight. But no, not the knight.
What's that knight attacking?
Pawn.
Yeah, with check. Did I see that?
No.
No. I made some move and he took it. And I was like, oh yeah. Okay. Then, in this position, he played queen to d2. I thought he was going to play queen g5 check. So I played rook g6. And he played queen b4 check, and I was like, oh. I have 2 legal moves, king e8 and king d8. Neither one is any good. I think my move is worse, but I'm not sure. Okay, if I played king e8, he would play knight d6 check. So I played king d8. I thought maybe he would take my pawn. He played queen f8 check, skewering my king and rook. You agree? If I play bishop e8, he forks my king and knight. So I was like, all right, you could have my rook. Okay. So I have no pieces left. If you turn the engine on, it says some crazy number. Okay, white's ahead plus, a million, right? Okay, yeah, exactly. Right. Okay. Now, if I was playing a grandmaster in a tournament, I would have resigned a long time ago. Okay, but this is a blitz game against, Rufus and Doofus. Sorry. Okay. I wouldn't even resign a blitz game against a grandmaster because a blitz game. Now, here's why. If they make an illegal move, you win. In a tournament, you don't. In a blitz game, you do. In fact, I was going to make up a story. I don't have to make it up because it happened on Friday. Let's say Sunday? Yeah, 2 days ago it happened. Karen, my wife, she was playing in a blitz tournament against Archer, her son, and she moved her knight wrong. She moved it wrong. She moved it too much, and then hit the clock. The game's over. If she had made the right move, she was winning. Now, in a tournament, you just take the move back and make the right move, and there's a time adjustment. But in blitz chess, the game's over. So I would never resign a blitz game because if your opponent makes an illegal move, you win. Unfortunately, this is the internet. This was on chess.com, so you can't make an illegal move, won't let you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's unfortunate because I can't win that way. All right. Anyway, let's continue. Okay. The game goes on, and I blundered again, which is really funny since I'm down 1,000 pieces. Okay. So in this position, I played knight takes d3. I can prove it, see? And then he took it. I didn't see that. I was like, oh. Okay, so now he's plus 20 or something, right? Okay, and I have no pieces left. Okay. Okay. But I don't resign, I keep playing. Now in this position, my opponent made the losing move. If I turn on the engine, it says white has made an 8. Now, if you look at the pieces, white has a queen, 2 rooks, and a knight. And I have a rook, knight, and bishop. Okay. And he's plus 1,000. Now, I'll ask you a really hard question. In fact, I might be wrong. So you might give the wrong answer, but you're right, I'm wrong. Of the 3 pieces black has, which is the most dangerous to this king? Which one should white be scared of the most?
In this position?
What?
In this position?
Yeah, in this position, if you were white, which of those 3 pieces scares you the most?
Probably the rook.
Yeah, I would say the rook is second, and the reason is the bishop's on the same diagonal as the king. So the computer actually takes the bishop, and then it plays this, and then it's mate. Black has nothing. Okay. In fact, here we're for king, the knight and the rook, which is funny. Okay. My opponent made a move that loses the game, even though every move wins. He found a move that loses. He played queen takes e5. What did I do? Remember the piece you're afraid of? Well, the one I was afraid of.
Oh, the bishop.
Yeah.
Bishop f3.
Yeah, now the truth hurts. Yeah. Now, this is a very funny way to win. Check, because he can block with his knight, queen, and rook. I just take them with mate. I take his rook, take his queen, take his knight. But I didn't do that. I made him quicker. I played this. And now after king g1, this is mate. Right? Okay. But here his time ran out. So I went on time and I mated him. When he was plus 20. And then people were like, what? You won? Rawr. And then my son, who's 2200, he said, yeah, I knew you'd win. He's seen me play before. Now, you might think, I'm a grandmaster. He's 1800. So I beat him. Now, here's something you don't realize, even if you do. When you win or lose or draw and the game's rated, you go to the US Chess Federation, you see what your rating is, right? Does it say how well you played? Does the US Chess Federation say, hey, how'd that game go? We're interested. No. You know what they want to know? Who won? Right?
Yeah.
If I win every game, me, and all my moves are the worst, I'm the highest rated player in the world. If I play perfect every move, like a machine, and then I blunder my queen or I blunder mate and 1, now my rating's low. They don't care how you play, they want to know who got 1 next to their name. That means don't blunder. If you don't play very well, but you don't blunder, you're better than somebody who plays really well and blunders a lot. By not blundering, you're better than everybody who blunders, even if they play better than you. Let me give you an example. You're watching Magnus Carlsen play the World Championship match. And your friend comes up and says, who has the advantage here? And you're like, I don't know. I'm a little kid, leave me alone. right? And your friend, he says, oh, white's better, and here's why. Because this is a famous game, and the pawn structure, and blah, 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 blah. And you're like, what? And then a grandmaster says, wow, that guy's right. Your friend's really smart. And then you're like, I'm higher rated than him. And the reason you're higher rated than him is he probably blunders more than you. He might play chess a lot better than you. Then he hangs mate in one. Then he hangs his queen. You don't do that. Okay, so this guy played better than me for 1,000,000 moves. Okay, and in this position he made one bad move, and I win. Okay, and that's what the lecture's about. When you blunder, that ruins everything. That actually frustrates people. People get really mad because they're wasting their time. Let me give you an example. You decide you're going to build a house. Okay, you build a house. And your friends are like, what? How are you building a house? You're a kid. And you're like, I'm a genius. And you're building the house, and it's done. There's a house. And the realtor comes and says, that house is worth $2 million. Do you want to sell it? And you're like, $2 million? Okay. And then at the very end of building the house, you're like, just a second, one more nail. And you hit the nail, and the house falls apart. Now, that wouldn't happen. But if it did happen, you would be really frustrated. You would be so frustrated you can't even explain it. Like, you took 6 months to build the house. The realtor's like, I'll give you $2 million for that house. And you hit a nail and the house falls down. Okay, right? That's what chess is. Chess is you play great chess, you're the greatest. You play queen e5, and I win. And if you play any other move, you're plus 1,000,000, you're mating me. Okay, now, that's one of the reasons my rating is really high and I'm a grandmaster, is I don't play too good. Sometimes I do, but if I don't, it's okay, because my opponent blunders and I don't. Yay! Okay, so when you're playing, your goal is to not make a horrible move. You can make moves that aren't great, but you can't make a move and go, oh, can I take that back? Can't do that. Okay, next. Okay, so this was funny. I'm white. Okay, I'm white, and this is a 1-minute game. We each have a minute, so now we each have like 20 seconds. Okay. This position's equal, and he defended his bishop. And I said to myself, in less than 1 second, what's black's next move? Now, it turns out any move is good for black. But if I was black, and it's an endgame, I always move my king up towards the center and up. So I thought he would move his king over here, because what's his king doing here? And I said, well, if he goes here, I can take his bishop and play bishop a3. Then he would defend his rook. So I played e4. And now he defends his rook, I play e5. So he can't play king f8, so he played king f8. That's a 1-minute game. We're moving instantly, right? Now I take, I go here, and after king e7, I play e5. I won a piece, right? Okay. So he can't play king f8, but he still played it. And it doesn't look like e4 stops king f8. It looks like they're not related. So I thought that has a chance of working, and it did. Okay, and then he resigned after he resigned. He's like, all right. So that's a blunder, and now I'm going to explain something to you that's hard to understand. There's a lot of positions in chess, if you turn on a computer, it says equal. However, every grandmaster in the world wants to have one of the two colors. They're like, it's equal, but I'd rather have white, because every move for white is good. Black has to find the only move that draws. Then it's equal. The computer finds those moves and says it's equal. Well, you'll take white and hope your opponent doesn't find those moves. Okay. This is a different kind of equal. This is equal where grandmaster doesn't care what color they have, because it's every move is equal for everybody. So that's a really bad blunder that happens to you at home when you relax. You're like, oh, this is easy now. So as soon as it's a very easy win or a very easy draw, people relax, then they blunder. So you can't ever relax. You can't. You can relax in other sports. If you're playing soccer and you're up 10-0 and there's 20 seconds left in the game, you can relax. And every sport's like that. But not chess. You relax in chess, one move ruins the rest of the game. So this game, we played about the same strength. Then he played king f8, the game's over. Now I can make a joke and say, well, I could play rook c7 and the game's over. Rook c5, the game's over. Rook c8, the game's over. Bishop c5, the game's over. There's a lot of moves in equal positions where you have to resign immediately. So you can never relax. Never. Never. Then when people do relax and I beat them, then they go complain to their friends. I was drawing, rawr, and then they complain a lot how they were drawing and lost. Did you hear me doing that? No, I boast about how I was losing, but I won. Yeah, exactly, because I don't relax, because I teach chess and I know you can't relax. You guys at home, you're like, well, why did I lose up a queen? Because when you were up a queen, you were like, I'm up a queen, I'm gonna win. As opposed to, I have to play good chess now. So you can always lose in chess, as this guy. Now you might say, that guy's no good, the guy that I beat. That guy just beat me 6 games in a row with no draws. That was the only game I didn't lose. So that guy's better than me. And he just blunders and resigns. So you can't do that. I'm going to say you can't do that. Everybody does it. Okay. This game I was dead lost. And I could show you a lot, but I just want to show you the end. Okay. And this is a blitz game, so it's okay. Okay. So in this position, my opponent's knight is attacked because I said so. So he moved it. And I checked him, and he played the only legal move. Okay. Now, I knew if I played queen h1, he would play king e2. So I stopped king e2. How did I do that? How did I stop him from going there? I made it illegal. What did I do?
Knight f4.
Right. And I thought queen h1 mate was unstoppable. And he played here, and I mated him. Okay. I realized while he was thinking that he can stop queen h1 mate. How? See, it's a blitz game, so if you think too long, your flag falls. That's why it's hard. Now, the reason he didn't stop queen h1 mate is very funny. He didn't see queen h1 mate. He saw another mate, which I didn't see. What's the other mate? I have another mate. I have another move that's checkmate and the game's over. So this is mate.
Yeah.
I have another move that's mate. So you're like me, you don't see it either. Yeah, queen g2 is also mate.
Oh.
And my opponent saw queen g2 and didn't see queen h1, and I saw queen h1, not queen g2. That explains his move. See this move that he made? That stops queen g2 mate. He can play king e1. I never realized why he played rook b1. I'm like, why? What's going on? During the game, I realized he could play queen g3 check, and trade queens. He has to. And the reason he didn't, he didn't see it, but he didn't see queen h1 mate. He saw queen g2 mate, and he stopped it. This is a very common thing you guys do at home. You're like, oh, here's the threat, and you stop it. Then there's the second threat you didn't see, or the third threat, or the fourth threat. Okay, and I saw one of my mates, not the other one. I didn't play knight f4 to attack his pawn, which I did. I didn't mean to. I did it so he could play king e2. That was my reasoning. Okay. So he hung mate, and I win. Now, I was really losing that game. He was +8, +10, and here he's only like, he's +1, because I fought back, or okay, he blundered. And again, you could say, well, you're a grandmaster, and he's 2,000, so you won. Well, he was +8 the whole game, and he hung mate and won. Did I hang mate and won? No. Did I hang my queen? No. So even though I play worse than him every move, he blunders and I don't. So I win. So by avoiding blundering, you can beat people who are better than you. And this is why there's always a lot of upsets in chess, because the higher rated player usually wins, but not always, because one blunder ruins it. Let's say, my previous example, the New England Patriots are playing a high school team. And let's say the first play of the game, a Patriot fumbles the ball, the high school guy picks it up and gets a touchdown. It doesn't matter. Nobody's going to bet on the high school team. That was a blunder, and now they're going to win 56-7. Now it's going to be destruction. So when you blunder in basketball and baseball and football, it doesn't matter. When you blunder in chess, and you're Magnus Carlsen, you're playing a beginner, you could lose. The beginner goes mate, and you're like, oh. And Magnus is more likely to lose to a 1600 than like me. Because against me, he's paying attention and he wins. It's like, hey, Grandmaster, I'm better than Finegold, I'm going to win. 1600, he's like, I can spot this guy a rook and win. So he's whatever, I don't care. And then if he blunders, he loses. If he's like, oh, I'm my queen. Now hanging this queen against me, because that's not good. He's not paying attention to a 1600. He doesn't play 1600, so it doesn't matter. So this is the problem with playing people that you think are no good. Let's say you have a friend at school, and he's the worst. You beat him a million games in a row, you don't want to play him. Well, when you play him, you're not paying attention, because now when you hang mate in one, you lose. So you can lose to anybody, because when they're really bad, you stop thinking, then you lose. So then if you think a lot, the guy's like, why are you thinking? You beat me every game. Well, that's why you beat him every game, because you're thinking, not because you're lucky. Okay, next. Now in this game, I was dead lost. This is a blitz game yesterday. We'll get to this position. Okay. And we'll do Kibitzer. Okay. So it's white's move, and you see black's winning. So my queen's attacked, and my bishop's attacked, and my bishop can't be defended because if I take back with the queen, when he takes my bishop, then he plays knight e2 check winning my queen. So he's winning my bishop. So he did. Okay. Now he has 3 pieces for a rook, and he has a mating attack. Okay? And so forth. All right. Okay, that's a blunder. Still winning. But. So he should just move his bishop here, try to take with a rook. Okay, but he's winning. It's okay. Yeah. And he played rook knight e4, and I played here. And now the winning move is very weird. Notice how white's queening. But what's better than queening? What's better?
Checkmate.
Checkmate. So if he plays bishop h3, and I ignore what he's doing, he plays check. Well, sorry, he plays check and checkmate. Okay. And if I don't ignore it, I should stop that. The only way to stop it is to take the bishop. And now I'm going to queen. Unfortunately, he checks me here. If I go here, it's checkmate, the same checkmate. If I go to f1, he goes discovered check. I can't go to the second rank, I go to the first rank. He checks, and now he's up 2 pieces, and he stopped my pawn. Okay, so bishop h3 is completely winning. In a blitz game, nobody's going to play bishop h3 and let me queen. That's crazy. So he played bishop e3. Okay, he wants to checkmate me and attack everything. And now it's a draw. And I'm going to win because I have more time than him. Okay, and in this position he blundered. Okay, here he blundered. And I could give a 1-hour lecture about this position, but okay, we have a lot of other positions to look at. Notice I'm threatening mate. You agree. He could play king g8 or king e8. One of them draws and one loses. He played the losing one. I didn't play the winning move because we had seconds on our clock. King e8 draws because his king can run around everywhere. King g8 is trapping his king. Okay, that loses. Now the way to win is funny. I should play rook a3 attacking his knight. What's the safest square for your knight?
Rook h4.
Knight h4?
Yeah, knight h4.
Yeah. Play knight h4, I attack your knight. You have to go to g2, and then I check and win your knight. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Okay. So the safest square is g5, because it's defended. Now, I play king here, threatening rook a8 mate. How do you stop mate?
King.
That's right.
F.
Right. Yeah. And now, something you've never heard of, that means he's heard of it. Zugzwang. You ever heard of Zugzwang? Okay. Zugzwang is a German word. It means compulsion to move. In chess, when it's your move, you have to move. Sometimes you don't want to move. So this is amazing. I go rook e3, and black cannot move, but it's black's turn. So he's got to move. Now obviously, if you move your knight where I can take it, I'm going to take it. I take it if you go there, right? If you play h5, I take your knight. So there's two moves we didn't look at. King g8, and I mate you. And knight f7, and I pin your knight and take it. So rook e3 wins. Okay, so that was winning for me, but I played rook g7 check. We got this drawn position, and his time ran out, so I won. So like, lots of blunders, because this is blitz chess, but he's totally winning. He's +5, he's +10, but it's blitz chess, and you blunder and you lose. And as long as you don't resign, don't ever resign. Do you ever resign?
No.
Good answer, yeah. Now, here's the unfortunate byproduct of not resigning. Some people, not me, consider not resigning insulting when good players are playing. So two grandmasters are playing, and the guy's up a queen and a rook. Well, that doesn't happen. But if it did, and the other grandmaster kept playing, they were like, what are you doing? I'm a queen and a rook. Now, when you're a kid and you're told never to resign, and then you get really good at chess, now you know when to resign. When you're 2200, you know, like I'm 2200. But then you don't, because you never did. And now your opponent's like, why isn't this guy resigning? Now, my second ex-wife, all my ex-wives are chess players. Karen's my third wife. My second ex-wife, also my second wife, she played in the US Championship, and she was rated 1800. Her opponents were rated between 2200 and 2700. So she got 0 out of 9. You know how many times she resigned? 0. She got checkmated 9 times. Okay? And she knew she'd get 0 because her opponents were a lot better than her. And one of the players said to me, why didn't she resign against one of the games she was playing? Well, they were like mad at her. Like she's playing on a queen down and a rook. And I said, oh, I told her she can't resign this turn. They said, oh, okay. They thought like she was being insulting, and I said she's not allowed to resign. The reason is she liked to resign. That's not a good trait in a chess player, wanting to resign. Yeah, I resigned. So if you don't resign, then you won't resign. Yeah. Now my first wife, who was a higher rated chess player, she was a women's international master. We played at a game 15 in Belgium, because we lived in Belgium. You heard of Belgium? It's a country. Yeah, they're in the World Cup Final Four. Well, for you, they've won the World Cup already. But all right. Anyway, she said, game 15, what should I do? Because we're used to playing really slow games. 15 minutes. Fast, right? She's used to like 2 hours, and the game takes 4 hours. And I said, I have one piece of advice for you. Don't resign. And she said, okay. So like in her third round, she resigned in an equal position. Are we married now? No. Okay, see, it's funny. And why did she resign? She thought she was losing the exchange. A rook for a knight. She wasn't, she had a way to get out. It was just equal. But if she was right, you would never resign because you lost the exchange. That's like the least amount of material you can lose. What? Okay, so I one piece of advice, don't resign, she resigned. The second wife, don't resign, she got checkmated every game. Good, didn't resign. And she was winning a couple of those games. But not resigning, good idea. Then you don't resign and go, oh my God, I resigned, why'd I do that? So very important advice. Okay, now these are famous examples, okay, from history. This is 1984. White played f6, forking the bishop and the queen, because I said so. Black played e2. You got that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we'll get rid of this nonsense. Okay, and white took the queen. Yay! Okay, what move did black play? Why did black give his queen away? What's wrong with him? You're like, I don't know, he's crazy. There's always two moves you should look at. Checks and captures. Show me the check. Show me the money. See any checks?
Pawn e8, maybe?
It's black's move.
Oh.
White just took a queen. Why'd black give his queen away? What's wrong with him? What check can black make now?
Bishop,
That's what he did. Okay. And white resigned. And when white resigned, it was pointed out white's winning. So when you're winning, should you resign?
no.
No. So if you play king h1, you obviously black wins, right? If you play rook f2, black wins. Mate. Okay. However, after knight e3, white wins. You take it with check, and I go here. And my queen defends. And I'm threatening this, and everything. And white wins. So instead of playing knight e3 and winning, white resigned. Because he didn't see knight e3, then king there. And the point of knight e3 is the queen is defending backwards. Awesome. If you turn the engine on, white's winning, white's +8. And white resigned. Because he didn't see knight e3, then king h1. Okay? That was a famous resigning when you're winning. Yeah, don't do that. That's why you shouldn't resign. This is a more famous example, because this happened in 1902. So people have known about it for over 100 years. Okay, black played queen e7, and white's winning with e6, but that's beyond the scope of our lecture. Instead, he played knight f5, or as I like to say, knife f5, attacking the queen. You agree, and the queen moved. Okay. Now, white blundered. He played rook d1, and black resigned. Good blunder, right? Notice the bishop's attacked, because I said so. And if the bishop moves, you lose your rook on d7. Yeah? So black resigned. Instead of resigning, how could black have won the game? Black's winning here. Now actually, Marco was a famous player. He wasn't like a joke. He was probably like top 100 in the world. So he wasn't like a beginner. He was a famous player. But he resigned when he was winning. Man, the truth hurts. Do you see it at home? You don't see it at home. Okay, you do, but you don't. Right? They see nothing at home. Whose turn is it? Black's turn. So if black doesn't move his bishop, white takes it. If black does move his bishop, white takes the rook on d7. So black resigned. What could he do? Do you see what he could do? It's the trickiest move ever. Now in chess, the two best things you can do in chess, checkmate your opponent. That's number one. Number two, I'd say, would take the queen. Okay. Black can threaten both. How does black make a move threatening checkmate and the queen?
Bishop e4.
Bishop e4 threatens the queen, but the queen can just take it. And there's no checkmate either. It's the other bishop. Not bishop e4. Move this bishop and threaten checkmate. Where can you move it to? See, if your bishop was on this diagonal, lined up with the queen, you'd be looking at queen h2 mate. You don't have to be on this diagonal. You could be on another diagonal. A very short diagonal. This one. Notice you're threatening mate. You agree. And you're threatening the queen. So black wins. But neither player saw that, so black resigned. Now if you turn the engine on, it says bishop g1, white resigns. It says bishop g1, black is up 4. It says if black doesn't do that, then he's losing. Now it says 5. And so now, when lower rated players are playing chess, a lot of times somebody's just better than the other guy. So you're pounding them. You're up 3 pieces. You're up 4 pieces. You take everything. Or they do that to you. You're like, man, that guy's good. He's up 4 pieces. Dang. And the computer says +20, +15. And that's because every move is like that. When grandmasters play and somebody wins, often you just missed a move. The computer says, you're winning, you're the best. Then it says, oh wait, that move wins for your opponent. You didn't see that. If your opponent doesn't play that move, then you win. And so the reason it's +10 is because there's one move that wins that you missed. Otherwise, everything's fine. And lower-rated players play and it's plus 10 because they're down 3 pieces. So it doesn't matter what happens. Every move is plus 10. So the computer evaluation doesn't tell you the story. If you're plus 10 and some grandmaster is plus 10, it's actually more likely you'll win. When you're plus 10, you're up 3 pieces. When he's plus 10, the grandmaster, it's because the other grandmaster made a blunder allowing a plus 10 move. And if neither player sees it, now it's equal. When you're plus 10, you're up 3 pieces, all your moves win. So there's different kinds of plus 10s. This is winning for black if black plays bishop g1. If black doesn't play bishop g1, black loses. He didn't see bishop g1, so he resigned. He was winning. Now, you could be like, oh my God, you would have won if you had played on. No. He wouldn't have played bishop g1, he didn't see it. So if he had not played bishop g1 and made some other move, he still would have lost. So if he didn't resign, he still would have lost because he didn't see bishop g1. Terrible. Okay. Now, this is actually very funny. I don't know an example of this other than this game. This was a simultaneous, if you know what that is. That's where one guy's really good, so he plays a lot of people at the same time. So let's say I'm a grandmaster, let's pretend, and let's say you're not a grandmaster. And let's say if we play, I'll win. And you're like, I don't want to play you, you're a grandmaster, you always win. Wah. Okay. Then I say, I have an idea. Let's take you and 20 of your friends, and I'll play all of you at the same time. I'll go to your board to make a move, I'll go to the next board to make a move, and I keep walking around. I use like 1 second to move, and you sit there and think, well, I'm playing, so I'm not going to do as well as if I was just playing you. That's called a simultaneous exhibition. This was a simultaneous exhibition. White was a famous player. In fact, there's an opening named after him, the Torre attack. Okay? And he's playing some guy. Okay. All right. So there's some guy takes the pawn and says, I may be some guy, but I'm going to make a queen. And Torre is like, I'm a grandmaster. So he stops the queen. And the guy says, I want a queen. And Torre goes, no. And the guy says, I want a queen. And Torre stops him from queening. How did he stop the pawn from queening?
King e2.
It's on e2. The king's on e2. Right? Isn't it on e2? Isn't this e2? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how did he stop the pawn from queening? See how the rook went here? How do I stop that pawn from going there? The only way to prevent the pawn from moving is to put your king in front of it. Right? Okay. Now, black said, but I want a queen. So he played rook c5. Notice he would like to go here. That looks good, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay. Then white resigned. White was the grandmaster, black was doofus. And he said, wow, doofus is looking good over here, right? Okay. However, white's winning here. But he didn't see how. He thought he was losing. The winning move is really weird. After rook here, you would like to play king takes pawn. King takes pawn is illegal, right? What move can white make? It's the only move, which makes king takes pawn legal. What can white do here where then king takes pawn is legal? How do we stop this rook from defending this pawn? It's the craziest move you ever saw. It blocks the rook. Blocks the rook from defending this pawn.
Rook e2?
No, it's still defending the pawn. Rook e2, and then checkmate, right? You have to block the other rook. Put something between the rook and the pawn. Put something on this line. How does white do that? It's easy to do, you just don't want to do it. Do it anyway.
Rook d6.
Rook d6 wins the game. Huh. And you're like, what? Yeah. Now if you check, I can take the pawn. Yay, right? You agree. If you take the rook, I queen would check. And it says white's winning, which is not obvious actually, but it says white's winning. Because black still has a big threat. But the computer's like, there's no problem. Yeah. Okay, still winning for white. And if you take with a pawn, now your rook's not defending your pawn. So rook c1's not a threat, I just take the pawn. So I can go here. Play rook c1 check, I don't care. Right? Now if you turn the engine on, the engine has no problem. It says rook d6 and white's winning. If white doesn't play rook d6, it says black is mating white. Well, the guy with white, rook d6 looks weird, right? So he didn't look at rook d6, so he resigned. He's like, well, the guy's gonna play rook c1 check and queen would check. I resign. But the computer's like, rook d6, and white's winning. And white's winning. So this is an example of white resigning when he was winning, and white was a grandmaster, black was a nobody. But he didn't see rook d6. These are called saving resources, okay? And I showed this position in the last class, except I messed it up. But I'm not gonna mess it up now, because I messed it up already. This happened last year. This was a game between two people that are like a little worse than me, like 2,400, 2,500. It's white to move, white resigned. White was like, okay, here, 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 here. Darn! And then black takes all the pawns, right? Okay. So white gave up. And what's funny is, in this position, white has a drawing move here. If he doesn't play it, he can do it here. If he doesn't play it, he can do it here. But he never looked at it. And that drawing move is a4. He never looked at a4 because that looks crazy. That's a drawing move. Okay? Because if you take it, these double pawns don't win. You don't win with those. And if you take this pawn, this is a draw, which the computer will agree. See, all zeros? Yeah. And if you go back to the starting position, it says king f1 draws. It says king e1 draws. Now it says everything draws, right? Everything draws. And now a4 draws. But he never thought about playing a4. He just thought black takes the a pawn, black takes the b pawn, I lose. Well, obviously, if you play a4 and black takes the a pawn that way, I ain't gonna win. And just to prove my point, so that you laugh, gotta make my students laugh. So he resigned when it was a dead draw. I don't know who was playing, but they were good players. This is just for overkill, for confusion. That's a draw. Can't win. Okay, those side pawns don't do well. Look at that. Computer's like, draw. Okay, so 5 pawns up a draw. I could be even funnier and put a bishop on the board and it's a draw. If it's a bishop on a white squared bishop, that's a draw too. So by giving away your a pawn or your h pawn, and then it's a draw. But the guy didn't think of it. I resigned. Some people just want to resign. Yay, I lost. What? Okay. So whenever you want to resign because you think it's hopeless, it's never hopeless, right? Your opponent can stalemate you. You can find a draw you didn't see. You can think forever, and people give up. And I'm like, what? Why are you giving up? So you should never give up because there's always chances. Sometimes you're drawing anyway, and sometimes you're not drawing, but the opponent helps you. Either way, you draw, or you could win. So I never give up. As a result, I win games that I should lose. I draw games I should lose. And when my opponents give up, I'm like, what? Thanks. That was easy. I didn't have to win. I've had positions where I was like, how do I win? And my opponent resigns. And I'm like, oh, that's how I win. What? Why are you resigning? I'm like, hey, they resigned. Okay. So remember, don't blunder. I don't care if you play bad, just don't blunder. If you blunder, that ruins everything, right? Now, what's funny is chess is often compared to tennis. The reason is tennis is one-on-one, and then there's no team, it's just you.
What if it's doubles?
That's different. You can also play doubles in chess too, Bughouse. Okay. However, here's the difference. In chess, when you blunder, that could lose the game for you. Tennis, no. Let's say I play you tennis, and you're a million times better than me. You win every point. And then you hit the ball and it goes over the fence and I win the point. Doesn't matter. You're still going to win.
I used to play tennis.
Yeah, well, me too. And so did Karen. Okay, but the point is, you can blunder over and over in tennis and win easily. Not in chess. Now, I'll tell you a game that's like chess. No crying. You ever play golf?
No.
Imagine you play golf. Imagine. And you're winning. Every hole, you're the best. Par, par, birdie, birdie, birdie. You go, okay. And they show the leaderboard. There's 2 holes to go. 72-hole tournament. You're on hole 71. It's almost over. You have -10. The next guy has +1. You're 11 strokes ahead. Okay? In a professional tournament, it's over. It's over. Unless you blunder, you hit it in the water, then you hit it in the water again, then you hit it in the sand trap, then you hit it on the railroad tracks, then you hit it into the stands. You blunder in golf, that could ruin like the whole tournament. Like you played great every hole, and now on a par 3 you get a 9. And you're like, what? What happened? I just lost 6 strokes. I was in first, I'm in 10th. Okay? So in golf, you can't blunder. You got to play solid and not blunder. In tennis, football, baseball, basketball, you can blunder all the time and win, as long as you're better. Okay? In chess, I can play really bad every move as long as you blunder. If I'm blundering, you can beat me. If I'm not blundering, it's going to be hard for you to beat me. And I don't blunder, so that's why I'm a grandmaster. When I'm not blundering, my moves aren't so good, but I'm not blundering, so that's good enough. If I play Magnus Carlsen, he doesn't blunder either, so he wins. But if I play other grandmasters, then I'll blunder, anything could happen. But if I play low-rated players, they always blunder. So I just win every game. Like, they hung their rook. I'm just waiting for it. Yes, they didn't see their knight. Okay? And before that, we play about the same. But they blunder all the time, and I don't. Okay, so remember that. When you're playing me, blunder, so I win. Rawr. No. You playing in the tournament today? No. What? Then you could avoid blundering, because you won't play. All right, good job. You're the best.